I guess this isn't necessarily just Fall Guy. This is media in general. The Fall Guy is hitting digital entertainment 2 weeks after it was released in theaters.
Yeah, this is bad.
This is insane.
This is Universal trying to mitigate the damage at this point, or whatever you want to call it.
But yeah, I mean, this is more just a conversation about the movie industry in general, I guess, and why they keep doing this, because it's not just Universal. I mean, they do this with a lot of films.
No, and I understand why they're doing it this time. This is kind of like this is them trying to maximize whatever they can out of this VOD now, because it didn't make the money they needed it to in theaters, which is sad because this movie should have been profitable. We were just talking about this. Like Garfield is doing exactly this weekend coming in. It doesn't even have to be that big of a movie coming into this weekend. And people are going to be talking about how much it's made and people are going to be scratching their heads in a similar way. Well, the big difference is Garfield only cost $60 million to make, has already made that much overseas. And this movie cost $130 million to make.
So they probably spent about 200 on it then, roughly.
Overall, at the end of the day, probably. And it's sad because people like the film. It's been received pretty good for the most part for those who have actually gone and seen it. And I think like the audience was there to see it, but they should have budgeted it better. I'm sure Culture will agree with me on that one. I think that's the big problem.
Yeah, here. I think they had a lot of names. I think had they not had a lot of names and just tried to make the best possible thing, maybe Gosling was a good choice, but you didn't need to bring in a couple other big names into this, or 3 in the case of this film. I think that probably ate up a bunch of budget that didn't need to. And I mean, I'm kind of bummed because it was it wasn't a great film. It was a good film. It was one of the few worth seeing so far this year.
How much of a role did Lee Majors play in it?
None.
Really? God, he's in it though, right?
I think there's a cameo of him at the end. Yeah, okay. At the end. But I have to tell you, I don't, it was a swing and a miss, but for no other reason than I think it was marketed poorly. The trailer wasn't done well. They really didn't sell the stunts as one of the main features of it. I mean, if you're going to make a Fall Guy film, you can certainly sell the rom-com of it because there is rom-com in it, but you needed to sell the stunts and they just didn't. So,
yeah. The trailers were full of stunts.
For whatever reason, they just didn't click because, again, I think it was over-marketed as a rom-com with like goofy humor between Gosling and Blunt, at least here in the States anyway.
Man, I did get those. I remember the original show. The whole intro was pretty much nothing but stunts. And there were some crazy ass stunts in the intro of that the original show.
Yeah.
So that's kind of surprising that a show that's about a stunt guy doesn't land the stunts in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, you need to disappear. Do you want to plug some stuff before you go?
Yeah, I got to run here quick. I got a show here in a little bit. Midnight Edge After Dark. Check it out if you would, please. Thank you for having me as always. Sorry I got to run so abruptly here, but take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
See you, Tom.
Have a good one. I never watched this because it's only been out for 2 weeks, so
I've not seen it. I still haven't even watched the trailer for it.
Have you not? Wow. It's not a film I would have watched opening weekend, so I wasn't like, mad, like, got to go get it. Do you know what I mean?
Loved the TV show as a kid, though. I watched it all the time.
Like you said, I mean, it's one of those few I could say beginning to end is very enjoyable. So
I'll definitely watch it on streaming for sure.
Yeah. Now, is it equivalent to the television show? No. But it's very good.
But terrible. Well, yeah, I mean, but this is what the film industry's been doing generally at the moment anyway with their movies. They cannibalize them like too much. They've been putting them too quickly on streaming services. Excuse me. It's not just this. It's also plenty of other movies that have just been swiped straight away. The whole 6-month window to be on some form of, rental or whatever. like that's gone now. But that used to be a really good window because you'd know you had to watch it, at the movies. And then if you did watch it at the movies and you liked it, then you got quite a long time before you can watch it again, because you wouldn't be able to watch it again until you could rent it, they 6 months down the line. That was actually a really good setup, I think, anyway. I think
it's still shown in the theaters here for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not that they're taking it out of theaters. It's just that now people will be able to see it at home, and that creates another opportunity to pirate it and everything else. It's just they really do undercut their
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean this would be on this. You just download this straight away. Like,
yeah.
I may or may not do that.
Disavow. Well, there you go. I mean, this is just the film industry in general, isn't it? So it's just a bizarre turn at the moment. Weird that they think this is. I mean, it's not sustainable, but they'll blame other things, and yet Planet of the Apes has been relatively successful, quite frankly.
Garfield's doing pretty good too.
Yeah, I have a feeling Garfield's going to perform better than we thought it was. I mean,
I don't know about that. It's getting terrible word of mouth.
Yeah, but it's already the international sales are pushing it higher and higher, and the audiences in the international markets are enjoying it. I don't know. We'll see. I still think it's gonna do well, and I'm pretty sure that Minions is going to be the top animated film of the year.
Oh yeah, Minions will.
Yeah.
I loved Garfield as a kid too, but I'm not going to pay to go see this in the theater. Garfield Halloween special, one of my favorite Halloween specials as a kid. If you guys ever saw that, it was funny.
I do not remember that. No.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, anything else to say on this, or shall we shuffle on?
I think we wrapped it up. It's just disappointing. To wrap it up. Disappointing, but
the marketing was terrible because I hardly heard anything about this film.
There you go.
Yeah,
terrible. Do better. Universal, market your film was better. Yeah. Not that they're watching.
They might be. Okay. Sony was watching. Sony was watching last week. Remember, they tried to get you to show.
No, they weren't watching. They sent me an email before.
Okay.